welcome to another amazing episode of Conversations with Ife Talks. My name is Ifeoluwa Ogunjobi and I'm your host. I'm excited about today's conversation. I like my outfit. I wish I could even show you everything, but alas, I can't. Okay, let me be serious. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about something very, very interesting and very important. I tagged it, don't let your background keep your back on the ground. Rema, preach. Okay, right, it's don't let your background keep your back on the ground. And trust me, it was a conversation I had with someone recently that spurred up this topic. So I spoke to a young lady recently. She's 28 years old. We were having a conversation and then she was sharing with me how she blames her parents for how her life has turned out. And I was interested. I was like, okay, what do you mean? She was like that, well, she didn't have a proper model marriage in view. Her parents were always fighting. They were always having issues. It was more like a battleground kind of family. They didn't have time for the children. There was some sort of neglect, so they pretty much just grew up on their own. They grew up in a very hostile environment and all that. She shared quite a number of stuff. I'm trying to, summarize everything, right? And then I said, I totally understand what you're saying. So she kept blaming them. They're the reason why I'm like this today. They're the reason why my life is not figured out. They're the reason why, I don't know what to do. In fact, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm 28 years old. I don't have anything that I'm doing. I don't have a job. There's no business I've done that is not working. All the business I've been doing are working. I'm just trying to repeat everything she was saying. And, I was just listening attentively. I'm like, I totally understand you and all. Then I asked questions about her siblings. So how many are you guys? She was like that there are 3. She has an elder brother and a younger brother. I said, okay, so what's your elder brother doing? Amazingly, she said that he's an engineer. He works offshore, all these people that he works for an oil company and he's doing really well. That's her elder brother. I'm like, okay. So what about your younger brother? She was like, that one is even worse than her. The guy is just totally aimless, nothing. He didn't even go to school, dropped that. It was really bad. And then I'm like, okay. All right, so she finished with a 3rd class, nothing and all that. She has multiple relationships. She sleeps with men for money. She just tried to open up as much as possible. And I'm like, I totally understand everything that you're saying, right? And I shared a bit of my personal story with her. I mean, those who know me know that I grew up from my parents who got separated first when I was quite young. I hadn't even entered into university then. So I pretty much had maybe her kind of story, the family, not the kind of family that you would, want to. Everybody hopes for a family where daddy and mommy are so in love. Everybody grows up together, go on vacations, they have a beautiful life and all that. But unfortunately, some of us don't have that kind of story. People have that kind of story and I'm excited for them, right? But I mean, I told her my story, how my family background was. Maybe one day I'll share, but that's not the board of conversation for today. And then when she was surprised at everything that I was saying, that really you grew up in this kind of family, I'm like, yes. Is how it was? I said, yes. My story and yours very similar and all that. But that's why I would say, do not let your background keep your back on the ground. And I'm happy that that brother is doing fantastic and doing well. Our families, our backgrounds can limit us, and that's okay, right? Because you don't have any control about where you are born, right? The family you're born into, right? But after a particular time and age, you begin to take control of your own life. And I genuinely empathize with anybody who has that kind of upbringing and all that. And like I said, it's pretty much kind of my own story too. But will I now live my life in regret, in pain, continue to blame my parents for how they chose to live their own marriage and all that? Will I keep saying it's your fault that we're not this, it's your fault we're not? How long will I say that story for? When will I begin to sit down and say that they've lived their lives, they did what they thought best to do with themselves? What would happen to my life? What is my own story? What do I want to become? What do I want to do with my own narrative? Do I want to continue to carry the pain and the burden of my parents' failed marriage? Or do I want to say, even if this thing didn't work, and this is exactly what I was sharing with her, even if so, what do you want to do with yourself? Do you want to keep sleeping with men? Do you want to keep trying one business or another, failing at everything? Or do you want to sit down and put your life together and say, yes, it didn't work for my parents, but it can be different for me and it will work for me? It starts with the mind. It starts with the mind. Every battle starts and ends in the mind. What are you telling yourself? What are your confessions? What are you seeing? What are your projections about your future? Everything starts and ends in the mind. What do you want to do with yourself? Are you going to let your background limit you? Are you going to even let it spoil you and be a force for you to do something better with your future? Ensuring that my children will not have the same story about me, their parent, because I will pave a better path for them. Yes, we don't have control about how we're born and where we're born into, but we can control what our present and our future will be. And that's the challenge I want to leave with everybody today. It might not have been good. You were not born with a silver spoon. Your parents were not so well to do. You didn't go to the best of schools and all that. Okay, it all happened because they did the best that they could. What will you do with your now going forward? What are you going to do with that job you have been given? What are you doing with it? That business you are trying to create, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep trying to blame someone? Are you going to try to fix your life and ask God for help and move forward? Don't let your background leave your back on the ground. Do better with yourself. Take responsibility for your life and stop blaming people for what's going on, because now they've gone. It's you that is here with your life. You're now 28 years old. What do you want to do? What's your story going to be? I promised you before we left that day she cried, she felt very bad, had a few regrets, and that's okay. The regret, it has happened, but now going forward, what's going to happen? And that's what I want you to also do. Will you keep dwelling in your past, in the mistakes of maybe the parents or wherever you're from? Or will you take control of your life, your story, and say, now it has happened, but I want my story to be different? Take control of your life. Ask God to help you. Do something better with your life. Do not let your background keep your back on the ground. Stand up, rise up, move forward, fight for your future, fight for your life, fight for your children. Ensure that there's no repetition of a bad occurrence. And I look forward to seeing you at our next session. Right, I hope that you've learned something. Right, don't let your background keep your back on the ground. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.